Guru Kripa Kevalam. Namaste and welcome everyone to Satsang today. Sadguru Sri Muji Baba Ki Jai. Let's see. Can I hear from Audon, if I'm pronouncing it correctly?
Yes, yes. Namaste, Father.
Yeah.
It's such a surprise that you called me. I didn't raise up my hand.
Yes, I don't see any hands, so that gives me an opportunity to call.
Yes.
How is it going?
Thank you. Well, last week's satsang, it was really strong, and I was trying somehow to you caught me by surprise.
Your time, take your time.
Yeah. I just was trying to follow your pointings, just to remember that you said that what if the whole universe is like just one speck of dust in you? So, but what somehow it was difficult to accept it, but what I can accept, just it's like my father is someone to whom the universe is just one speck of dust.
Yeah.
And since I am in your heart, so everything is okay.
That which you recognize yourself to be, that awareness which you recognize yourself to be, what is the size or scale of that awareness?
I cannot say it.
So, actually, because it is so beyond this manifest play, it is so beyond this play of light and sound, that even to say that the universe is a speck of dust actually is not true. It is just to shake us from our notion about how large it is and how we are an object contained within that. See? So, background noise coming. Let me see. Can unmute again. Okay, so actually to put yourself in any sort of size or dimension is impossible because we are beyond all dimensions. So when the masters say that even the universe is nothing but a speck of dust for me, actually it is just something that is so beyond our imagination that it allows us to let go of our deeply held beliefs that I am an object in this universe. And then when we are shaken out of these deeply held beliefs, we come to a deeper recognition in our heart, which is that actually not even a speck of dust. This universe is for what I truly am, because it is not at the same level of comparison at all. Is it? Not in the same level of comparison at all. So, so all of these pointers are meant to guide us to this theme that that to, to look for ourselves in this kind of way of dimension is not going to be a fruitful exercise. I feel like I'll just mute you for a moment, Nadia. Completely.
Okay.
It seems like the sound is coming from there. We'll just try that out. Okay. So so it's like the Vedantic approach is like this. Like they will tell you in the scriptures that you take yourself to be just this body with 2 hands and 2 feet. Actually, you have millions of hands and feet. That is what you are in reality. Then, once we've shaken that old belief system of ourselves just being this, uh, lump of food, then we get shaken out of that and we may start visualizing ourselves to be some very large entity or something like that. And then it is said in Vedanta, how can you have hands and legs? You can't have hands and legs. You're so beyond all manifest. So that's the idea, to shake us out of deeply held notions into a branch that we can hold on to provisionally, and then even the branch is chopped away. So actually we are left with no real uh, uh, grasping or possibility to hold on to anything. So how to paint a picture of ourselves then? How to paint a picture of ourselves?
I don't know. I cannot paint anything, actually.
And this is the good news, that without the possibility of this painting or this sort of reference, mold, whatever we may call it, we are not lost. We are actually found. That is the beauty of this. The world tells us, the mind tells us that you need a representation to confirm what you are. But actually, without representation, without shape, without size, it is more apparent what we are.
Yes, but still, like this week I had such a moments, beautiful moments, but
I'm sorry, Nadia, 1 minute. Sorry.
yes, but in spite of all this, like strong, beautiful revelations, insights, somehow I feel that there's still some part of me, in me, that which goes, I don't know how to say, with the mind or with all the habits,
Yeah.
and which like feels boring, not boring, but finds those old things interesting. Some just
Yeah.
instead of listening to satsang, just picking up and reading some book, like not spiritual book, but or watching TV, or just I understand that this is such a waste of time, or engaging in some, mind stuff, some fantasies. I really would like to get rid of this, but somehow I'm not able to do this fully.
So, no activity in itself is a problem. Okay. And I want to tell all of you this, that it's not the content of the perception. It doesn't matter whether in front of you there is a TV, or whether there is a book, or whether there is anything else. It doesn't really matter. It is only when we forget what we really are, or to even put it even better than that, if we take ourselves to be that which we are not, that is the only troublesome aspect. You see? So the content of the activity is not what is being pointed at here. I'm not suggesting to anyone any sort of life. If you feel like a sadhu life is better for you, then do that. If you feel like the life of a householder is better for you, do that. If you feel like a life of full on work and just busy with whatever else is better for you, do that. But none of that compels us to take ourselves to be the false. You see? No content can appear in front of you, you see, which already carries the misidentification. You as consciousness have to take that content and use that to misidentify. You see, you have to believe your ideas about what you are as a result of what content is showing up to misidentify.
But it seems that this belief happens that I'm, just a person, just this small one,
Yes.
like mother of my children, housewife, and so
Yes.
on.
Yes. So if you are like this mobile phone, no, then anything can happen to you. Anything can happen, no, because you're being controlled by a greater force. So things can happen. So if you were just little old or drone, or you were just little old whatever body, whatever the body is called, then in this vast universe, anything can happen to you. You see? But when you say it just happens, are you referring to yourself as consciousness? Because nothing just happens to consciousness. You see? First, you have to identify as some object for which something can happen to. So, see, come to the recognition of your being and see if ever anything has just happened to the being. Can some thought come which is so strong that our being is forced? This thought is too big for me, So then the thought would be God, isn't it? If a thought could come which was stronger than consciousness, that consciousness is forced to believe that to be true about itself, then thought should be taken as God. You see, so already in the subtext of what you're saying is a hidden belief that I am, yes, consciousness is here, but at the end of the day, really all this just happens to me. But in that representation of me, what is it that you're taking yourself to be? And is that natural to your existence right now? Is your being already limited? In this moment, is your being limited? And identify its boundary. See if you can find a limitation to your beingness. And see if anything can just happen to it. Like a thought can come along and it is so compelling that the being itself is now shaken up and says, yes. Or is it that that the being is playing with that identification still, but not held hostage to it? What can appear in this play of appearances, which is too strong for the being to handle, including the thoughts? With me? And all of you can jump in. I've allowed you to unmute. So this is an important point. So for over many years I've heard this, that yes, it is only after I believe in a notion about myself which presents a picture of myself being limited, do I get into this. But that belief in the notion just happens to me. Poor old me, what can I do? You see? But then this would not be consciousness speaking with consciousness. Then this would be consciousness speaking to poor old me. You see? But that is not how it is. If there was a step needed for you to become consciousness, then whatever I'm saying is all rubbish. You see? If naturally what is here now is not full on God, you see, then just forget about satsang and everything that is being said. Nothing can take away the godliness of God in this very moment.
Yeah.
Please.
Forgetfulness. The forgetfulness of it. What is that forgetfulness? Is it ego? To forget and consciousness constantly more pervading, unfortunately, than the consciousness. Because what you're saying is that if you constantly abide in the fact that you are consciousness, then nothing, and then this is the thing, the reality that one notices.
So reality in this moment is not really different, but I know what you're saying.
Yeah,
So it's like, my dear, I'm just going to mute you for a moment because still that sound is coming. So it is just, in a way, we have to call it habit. You see, we have to call it habit to go to a representation. And it is a habit that we learned under great protest. Maybe as children, we were told that we must take ourselves to be this body, we must take ourselves to be this limited entity. You see, we didn't want to learn all of that. You see, but we were forced because we were told that this is how you can live a productive life, you can live an effective life, and that is fine at that stage. You see, now it is like the tree has to grow up and become strong before it can be cut. You see, so if it is just too flexible, then it's not too easy to cut anyway. So it develops first in that way, and then it comes to a point where it can be chopped away. So this habit, which is a learned habit, is a nurtured habit that consciousness itself has been playing with. When we come to satsang, you see, and that is why usually it takes a few satsangs before we defrost out of that conditioned habit. That the thought is proposing this notion to me. You see, it's proposing that I am a individual doer, I'm the separate one, I'm the desirer. You see, so it proposes these notions about myself, and we take them to be true out of habit. But it is not as if once we decide that I'm going to remain with my true inside, you see, then consciousness can be forced by these projections, because they are its own projections, as part of its own lila, its own play. You see, so nothing that it is projecting can be stronger than the light itself. Just in the same way, like the movie projector cannot project anything on the screen of the movie which can affect the actual projector itself or the light which is being projected. You see, so I'm fully aware that the habit can seem very compulsive, but to take it for granted that, oh, now we are stuck like that, you see, is just reinforcing that habit, because that is what your mind is proposing to you even right now. You see, so even right now it will say, buddy, easier said than done. Maybe easy for you to say, but I'm pointing out to you that actually, if you just look at yourself as pure beingness right now, you see, and I've given you the tools to see that, then observe without any sort of rush and see what thought has to come to compel you into that identification. See what thought has to come that pulls you in so deeply that you have to identify with it. And once you identify those, actually you will be met with your greatest attachments. And that itself is a great contemplation in itself. You see, because not every thought then will compel you. Once you're just, okay, let it all come. Let me see what gets me. Have you tried this for 2 minutes? Just let it all come. Then let me see what gets to me in my belief. Yeah, something about you already? Say.
The one that wants to get it.
The one that wants to get it, get what is being said.
Yeah. Are you listening? Did you get it?
Okay. So what identity is that? Who wants to get it? What aspect of our ego wants to get it? It's a spiritual seeker. No? It's a seeker identity which wants that completion and saying, now, listen, get it now, get it. You see? Which itself is an invitation to not get it. You see the trick, no? That it's saying, now you better listen carefully because this is it, don't miss it this time, is causing you to miss it this time. You with me, no? So, this is the tricky nature of this. Pure being was just chilling, just being itself. Okay? And then the notion came, okay, you better find a way to stay like this because this is so good. You see? And then you've taken on that thing. So what I'm saying is that you'll discover your greatest attachments is this way. So we are attached to spiritual finality or spiritual seeking or spiritual enlightenment or coming to the final resting place, whatever we may want to call it. You see? So good. So you notice that. Now let's try again. Allow everything to come in. Don't have to meditate. Nothing. Just chilling. Okay? Thoughts are coming. Thoughts are going. You are just beingness. You are just conscious. Now, I'm going to allow you all to unmute. Tell me what gets you. Wanting to
an answer.
Wanting to do something.
Say something.
Yeah. Say something. You know, and what would you like to say?
A good point that makes
Yeah,
you look strong.
Yeah. And if you get that acknowledgement from me, from the rest of the Sangha, then what would you be? Like very smart, very bright, really listening, getting it. You see?
So it's
Now,
put together.
yeah, like sorted, sorted. So, but is that greater than consciousness? Suppose everybody in the world took you as super sorted. Is that greater than God? Is that greater than just Atma, just being? Is it? No, because this is the great thing about this. Your original state is higher than the highest, and everything else is just a mask. Everything else is just a persona. It's just a facade. But our habit, and this is called vasanas, conditioning, is to compel us to put on a mask because we feel like that is the only way to move forward, make some progress. But in the idea of progress is pre-built a notion of problem. That something is wrong or something can be resolved or something has to get better. And in that we are missing the beauty of what already is. So even if you decide now that I'm just going to be, that's already a position. You see? So the emptiness or the nakedness that I'm talking about is empty of even that position. We feel like we need a conclusion to come to rest. Actually, it is your own conclusions which are making you suffer. And often I've spoken about this, but today's conclusion is tomorrow's confusion. You see? So you may say, I figured this out. This is what all of this is about. I am going to just be. And anybody who decides to just be, have you ever been able to do it? I am going to just be. But what you're taking yourself in that construct of just being is still little old me. Does God have to decide to just be? Does Atma have to decide to just be? So already we take the mask to be real and then say, okay, you see, already the idea is that I'm far from home. How can I get there? I can get there by just being, or by just living in the moment, or just being open and empty, or not believing my next thought, whatever spiritual guidance you heard. You see, but really, at the core of it all is this idea that you are lost and you have to be found. Now, what I'm proposing to all of you is that just here and now, you are it. You see, unless you put yourself in an intellectual construct, including the construct of you are it. That is just a pointing, it is not a truth. You see? With me? Yes? It can be a bit strange for Satsang, but you look a bit troubled, Nadia.
Because it's a point of high accountability. So if you say I'm divine, this very moment.
Yes, I have zero doubt about it. Zero doubt. And I don't care what you say about it actually. or whether you believe it or not, because it has nothing to do with belief. It is just what you are. You see, it is just what you are. But it is not meant to pressurize you, because you don't have. It is not about any sort of like, now I have to be divine. You see, it's nothing. It's just what you are. You see? So in fact, it is meant to free, not meant to expect larger than life sort of impression or something to come out of the functioning of the body mind. You see? If you look at the ones on the walls, and then their day-to-day lives, they just their day-to-day life. You see? They don't have to have an image to maintain and say, now I am divine. You see? I have to present myself in a divine way. How would we do that? What can this little mouth say? What can these little hands say? These feet do that can be divine? Okay? Then we get trapped in this notion of all this kind of spiritual experiences and miracles and all of that. We are missing the miracle of what is in having to, looking for divinity in aspects of this creation, then makes us feel like we need to find the supernatural or mystical sort of experiences and things like that. But in that, aren't we missing the beauty of just this one ray of light from that tube light? It's not even an expensive tube light, just a regular tube light. One ray of light. Have we imagined the beauty of it? Can we fathom how beautiful it is? One sound. Even of the traffic from the street. If you don't put in the box of our mind, have we really tasted it? Just tasted it fully. There's so much joy, there's so much beauty in every moment of this. But if we are living in our narrative, what happens? Then we are living as if we are living in the black and white photocopy version of this world. Here I have come to Satsang. This man is saying some things. I better listen carefully, like Nitin was saying, and then I may understand, and I may go out better than what I start. That's the narrative which the mind wants to present. You see? Or if the mind is really bored, it may say, what is happening? Why do I come? I decide every time this is the last time. Why do I come? Yeah. Or even the other way, you can say, so many years I haven't come, I should have come. You see, but I fell for my mind tricks. You see, it could even be saying that. Now, all those narratives are fine, but they're just fairy tales, just primitive storybooks. You see, because when you take yourself to be that, are you assimilating the beauty of what is in front of you right now? What is perceptually in the vastness of your being? You see how much there is in your being. There's this worldly play, there's this play, there's emotions, there's sensations, there's being itself, pure presence, and then beyond all of that is that pure awareness, which is aware of all of this in this moment. But where are we living? I came to Satsang. See, that is the contrast. No? That is the difference.
Small thoughts.
Just any thoughts. So, because a thought which can decipher reality to its full extent does not exist. You see, by definition, any definition is limiting. Like it is able to define because it limits the outer constraints, like the parameters. But you are the unlimited one.
I was just thinking.
Yeah, that's the trouble.
But what came to, I won't say mine, but the kind of pointing and introspection that you just presented now, isn't that possible only for one who has already had a darshan of the
It's possible for you.
Yes.
Let's forget it.
Okay, forget it.
Just make it true for yourself.
In fact, what was getting me now was the thought that, there are many thoughts, some thoughts that are coming, but none of them are getting me. That thought
is getting
yeah. That little pride
it's the meta thoughts about thoughts.
It's that,
Thoughts about thoughts, whether they're getting you or not.
Like I'm
Stories
still at
about
that,
stories.
I'm still at that place,
Exactly.
that pedestal kind of thing. Probably.
And those are spiritual ego.
Yes.
Those, if you can identify, it'll save you a lot of trouble, because these pedestal type thoughts, you see, which affirm your spiritual progress, you see, are just the bedrock of the spiritual.
There's no good garbage and bad garbage. All garbage is
All garbage is there. Guruji said,
Oh,
99% of what you think is rubbish.
and the rest is
The other 1% is also. It can feel for a few moments as if we are left helpless. For those who are not used to satsang, it can just feel like, but without that, I have no reference to what I am, what am I supposed to do, you see, what is my next action going to be, all of that seems lost. Is it? But that lost is actually very auspicious, because you meet the divinity, the divine intelligence, which is running all of this life. Running all of this life. This guy, this one, you see, how does it decide which leaf to grow next? Is his life going in the right direction? Don't worry that it sounds absurd. Is the life of this plant going in the right direction? So difficult. Is the life of the plant going in the right direction?
Not applicable.
Not applicable, exactly, no? Because whichever direction it goes in is the right direction. If you have to frame it in the right and wrong, you see? So who is determining that? How many thoughts does it have to think? I will grow my next leaf like this to these many centimeters, and after that it will be too much, but this will make me happy and comfortable. It has to think like that. How is it able to convert light into food? How many thoughts?
See, photosynthesis.
Yes, but how many thoughts needed for that photosynthesis to happen? We give so much value to thought, but what are the processes happening even in this body at this point without thinking? How many processes are happening?
Everything.
And so suppose now you could pick between whatever you can do with thought versus what you could do, what is happening without thought. What would you pick? No. If you could pick, you say, okay, now I have to go to Mumbai, I have to do this, I have to do that. You see, versus all the activity and processes which are happening in this body apparently, without having to think about them. You see, which would you pick?
The latter.
Latter, no, because without that, heart will stop beating, blood will stop pumping,
Right.
digestion will stop happening. All that will be big trouble if it stops, isn't it? So in any case, 99.99% is happening without thinking. You see, now the 0.01 whatever we think is happening because of thought, just evaluate if that is true. Evaluate whether that is true. You will see that it's wrong. You see, many times we think like if everything that we thought about 20 years ago actually happened that way, you see, then it would be so disastrous. Yeah, that's a good one. God is not that unkind, Guruji said. Guruji said, God is not that unkind that will make every one of your desires come true. All with me? I'm liking this format of a bit more interactivity. Let me see what... anybody with your video on, I can just call on you, okay? So if you don't want to be called on, at least for now, just put your video up. Let's see, who haven't I spoken to in a bit? Let me hear from... I haven't met Laura. Have I met Laura before, like this? Let's see. She has something to say.
My first time, Anantaji.
First time, yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
You're very welcome, very welcome. How's it now? Where are you with me now? In terms of what is being said?
Just
Rajni,
very much.
are you completely lost or no?
No, very much with you.
Good.
Just here with you. Yes.
Tell me what you are stuck with, if at all anything.
You know, what I've been noticing most recently is there's making this into other and playing like a spiritual object guru game, spiritual path game. Even though it's seen that what's been found has already been found, then something turns it into an object outside and tries to like grasp onto it and make it into a new path and gets all and when what's been seen is just this you know? And then something keeps trying to like turn it into something, like turn it into an object.
Yes, yes.
Am I being clear?
Yes, dear. Yes, yes. Very clear. Thank you. I see that
Very
you're from the USA. It's written in your Zoom profile. So there's an American comedian called Newhart, and I don't know if you've seen this video. Where he has a video on YouTube. You can search for it. Newhart, stop it. You see. So just so his advice. I'm going to spoil it for you. Sorry, but his advice is just stop it. And it's very irritating to hear that advice because I can't just stop it. You see, what do you mean by stop it? So he said, well, this is the trouble. You see, just stop it. I'm taking what appears in front of me to be another. You see, that is not good news. Stop it. Stop. You see? And you say, but it just happens. How can I just stop it? You see, but it just, if you believe that it just happens, you're taking yourself to be what? God cannot have this complaint, it just happens.
No.
So already in that narrative, you're already taking yourself to be something that you're not, isn't it?
Yes.
You see? So in this moment, don't take anything appearing in front of you to be another. And I'll tell you something which is, don't take what I'm going to say next to make yourself guilty in any way. It is not meant to inspire guilt of any sort. But what I just want to say is that if you did not desire anything from this world, you see, then anything in the world could not compel you into any sort of suffering. If you did not have an expectation about how this world should be, then a thought cannot come and compel you. You see, it's because you have a construct. We all may have a construct about what my life should be, what my spiritual progress should be, how free should I be. You see, if the seeker identity is now the number one, numero uno identity, then the thoughts about that will be compelling. If a parent identity is number one identity, then thoughts about that will be compelling. You see, but if we did not want anything from this world, and that is, I'm not talking about any sort of renunciation, because that is also a very strong position, that I take myself to be this body mind and I have to renounce the world. It's not what I'm talking about. I'm saying that whatever, all this glimmering, shining light and sound appearing in front of me, I trust that which is doing all of this to present the next frame in the most beautiful way, because it is the best director of this movie. Then I don't have to manage it and say, okay, now this should not come, only this should come. You see, my freedom should be like this, my children should be like this, my husband should be like this, all of this idea. Then if we didn't have these desires, then tell me what could get you. And that's what I meant when I said, if we start with the intent in our heart to be open and empty, and then you notice what gets you, you will notice your desires and attachments. And that's helpful. Again, not meant to make you feel guilty, but just shine the light of your consciousness on it, the light of your being on it. It is not meant so that you can consume more thoughts about it and say, oh, I'm still so spiritually egotistical. You see, I have so much spiritual desire, or I have so much whatever desire. It is not meant for that. It's just meant to see who should be free by now. Who should not be behaving like this by now? After having come to Satsang for whatever period of time. This is a common one, isn't it? I've been with Guruji for so long. I've been listening to so much YouTube of Ananta, all of this. But by now I should be through this. Whose story is that?
It's true. Something hides in the, I don't want to call it a victim exactly, but in the, I don't know how I got lost feeling,
Yeah.
you know, that maybe not taking full responsibility
Yeah.
for the vigilance required to.
Well, even that is to go a bit far. And it's okay provisionally, but even that is like painting a path, that I have to then now walk on this path. If the best food in the world was always available every moment to us, you see, what excuse could we have for complaining of being hungry? You see, does it require vigilance? All that is needed is to just snap out of it, not create a 5-year plan, not create a roadmap. Okay, this is where I'm stuck. Now my way back home is that, and I'm going to be truly dedicated to that and get to it.
Yeah.
All that is, but what is here right now? What can prevent you from clicking your finger? Before the click, you are free. Before the click, God is here. In whose light are you experiencing the world right now? In whose light are you experiencing the world right now? Whose light? Don't look away. In whose light are you experiencing the world right now?
Mine.
Yes. What is that? Is that individual?
Doesn't seem like.
No. Investigate further. Go deeper. Dive into that light. See whether it has a boundary.
Well, as of now, the light that is getting to me is the perceptual light.
In whose light is the perceptions appearing? In whose light are the perceptions appearing? Start with that. You see? It's very good that you are aware, I've pointed you to this, that the truth of what you are is not possible to witness in a perceptual light. Very good. Now, but I am asking you that even the ability to have perception is because of which light?
Light.
Yes. And which light is that? Is it something that
exists naturally?
exists naturally? How big is it? How small is it? Where is it?
The moment you start to describe, again it goes back into the realm of perception.
Yes. Yes. Is it alien to you?
It's awareness. It's always there.
Always there. Always there. Isn't that
So describing, you need a reference, right?
Yes.
This one,
Yeah.
that light cannot be a reference to something.
Cannot be reference, undefinable, unspeakable. Is it separate from you? When you say, very good, very good. So when we say mine, are we speaking of it as possessive? Like this phone is mine. See? This phone is mine. Is it like that? Is the mind like that?
No distance like that.
no distance. It's not a relationship. It is what I am. Self-illuminating. And in the light of that, all of this worldly play also appears. Have you ever had an experience when you were not there? How come?
Never.
Very good. It sounds absurd, no? It sounds absurd. What is it? How can I have an experience? I have to be there. But which I has to be there?
I'm the only thing that can never be switched off.
You are the only thing that
Never be switched off.
Yes, yes.
Good or bad, it will be there.
More good than bad.
But even this entire search and contemplation is seen from it.
Of course.
I know that feeling arises. Yeah. Even this whole thing is seen.
Yeah.
And the contemplation also comes. Who is it that who is doing all this?
Yeah.
Trying to come back to the self.
Yeah.
That arising is also seen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like sometimes this contemplation happens. What is arising? And therefore what is not arising?
Yeah.
There's no answer to that. So what is not arising is always here.
See, the question and the answer is at which level of our existence? How is it that it is so, in the human condition, we become so dependent on the intellect that we feel like, oh, life is a huge mess if we don't have all the right answers, or life is very good if I have these seeming elusive moments where we feel like, I got all my answers. Why does life have to be so tiny that it depends on this few concepts?
And further, it also feels like rather than the small mind trying to come back to its source, it feels as though the bigger mind or consciousness is actually sucking a part of it back in.
Yeah.
And just
It's about time to.
yes. So that is what is
So whether you call it a longing to come back home, or whether you call it a pull towards self-realization or the freedom, it exerts a certain. It is almost like an alarm clock. Like, we're done with this game. Just want to wake up now. Wake up now. Okay, now Laura, how are we?
Very happy. It's such a helpful, just to stop. Just stop. Stop.
Yeah. Just stop the narrative. Stop the narrative, and don't even make that part of the narrative. You want to spend this entire life like so many others, like so many other lifetimes that we may have had, just living in the story of our life, or just for a change experiencing this great life in front of us? Does the story keep changing, the same old stuff?
time to join the elite club of the enlightened.
Time to join the elite club.
Rather
That's
than
not a
being
story.
seeker for many lifetimes. Same story going on. Time to go to the other side.
How about you drop that story also?
Also should-
Forget enlightened. What is enlightened?
As in awaken.
What is awaken? Forget. What else you got? Awaken, master, guru. Forget it. Now?
Nothing. Only laughter can come.
Okay, forget it. Forget only laughter can come. Forget nothing. Now?
This love and emotion.
Forget it. So holy, love and devotion. Forget it. Now?
Can you forget it or upeksha or or just forget it?
Don't bother with it. Yeah, either in Sanskrit or English. Just don't bother with it.
Just don't bother is also like just don't bother is also thing, right? So what's that?
Don't bother with it.
Stop it right now. Stop what?
Stop taking yourself to be something. See, stop any narrative. Like, let the narrative flow, but you don't take it to be real. What is a belief? What is a belief? To give a sentence in a story the degree of truth, isn't it? Isn't that a belief? I'm a pink-haired watermelon. You see, if that thought crosses your mind, not true. You see, but I have to find freedom. No, both are as absurd. Okay, now this may sound absurd, but both are as absurd. See? So we give truth value 0 to the first one, but we give truth value 1 to the second one. That is the process of belief. So when I'm saying forget it, you as consciousness have the power to not give it truth value 1. You see? So when this comes, find my freedom. Then what are you taking yourself to be? Who has to find his freedom? Who has to find freedom? This is still the idea. No? So the non-existent one, whether it is free or it is a pink-haired watermelon, doesn't make any difference.
Everything that is setting us into a state of consciousness, that momentum to take you away from in this moment.
Yeah.
And so subtle it takes you instantly into this. Do that. Then you'll get it. Do that. That is all.
Yes. Like my master says, Guruji says that all these thoughts come auditioning for our attention and belief. And they audition so well because they know the buttons to push. It's like, even the mind is not wasting too much energy. It's just know, okay, now this one wants to be free. So let's now dangle that carrot. Yeah? Dangle that carrot. You do like this, you stay like this, then you will be free. So, but the representations it is making of you are still small. Now it will say, but what am I taking myself? Oh, I'm taking myself to be Atma. Atma, not person. Isn't Atma needs freedom?
Ultimately, it gets to a very confused.
Huh?
It's very confused.
Okay. Even that is all right because confusion is the whole Zen way anyway. So suppose that your intellect is completely confused. What about the rest of you?
It is analyzing that confusion.
Okay, so there is a confusion and the analysis of that confusion. Is that all there is to you?
Somebody is looking at
Someone, some guy looking
something behind it.
How do you know about that someone? Is it not you?
So even like analysis, if the only way to drop it or only way to is just ignore it. Not even put effort of dropping it in that particular.
Yeah, if ignore is the word that works for you, it's fine. It's completely fine. Sometimes for some, ignore gives a feeling of trying to hide, That's fine. So it doesn't matter what word you're using. You see, as long as it points you in this openness and emptiness, it's fine. Don't try to determine what is the best pointer that will get you home. You see, whatever pointer seems to be working at the moment, just use it. Okay? You see, you're not trying to solve it for the rest of humanity. Just solve it for yourself. You see? So if ignore. What's the problem? You see? But don't try to make a mantra out of it that everybody can use and say, Acha, because another will hear ignore in a different way. How you look at ignore is very different from how another may look at ignore. You see? Otherwise, one template, one scripture, one set of words could have solved it for all of humanity. But there's nothing like that. You keep trying. Everybody reads it in a different way.
So history, I think every such mold or any attempt at such mold has only failed.
Yes. Yeah.
even the world doesn't exist by its own rules.
Yeah.
So, anything world is
So we cannot templatize it. See? That's why we cannot templatize it. And the source of all religious conflict and spiritual conflict is the effort to say my template better than your template. Isn't it? But every template is met with a different set of conditions, and has its own place.
But then again, at my confidence level, I always need the validation of
Validation
my template.
of your template.
And then I start evaluating and then thinking again, goes in that cycle.
But you were at this beautiful point. You said there is confusion, there is analysis of the confusion, and what else is there to you? So even to make a statement about your level of confidence is an analytic process which has led you to that conclusion. It's a part of that whole mind-intellect place. Now, what else is there to you?
Slightly step back for it. Every time I step back, again I get it, and again I step back and see.
Okay. So suppose you don't step back right now. Is your mind intellect all there is to you right now without any movement of any sort? Is your being completely full with the mind intellect? And is that which is aware of being just obscure and somewhere way back? Or is that just a visual your mind itself is planting for you?
I always thought it's a mindless act.
So, are you aware right now? What allows you to conclude that? Are you saying that you are aware because you perceive, therefore you must be aware? Is it like that? No, it's more direct. No? Because the yes came fast. Now I don't know what will happen after that. Because at least that was very innocent. After that, the mind may take it on and say, it is only because this, because that. But it wasn't because anything. What is that knowledge which allowed you to conclude that you are aware?
As soon as I start answering it, it's again trying to interpret.
Over there, no? So for a while, don't worry about what's over there. Is it? Let it happen. Let it happen. Whatever confusion, clarity, cloudiness, full clear, allow all that to happen. Is there an aspect to you where all this is not happening? All this movement is not like that? Okay, let's take it simply. No? Maybe it sounds in the mind, a lot of confusion. What is happening in your stomach? Confusion? No, no. So there's an aspect even to your body which is beyond the confusion. What is happening to your hand? You see? So there are various aspects which we just take to be ourselves. But we rely so much on this that we have to resolve it here that we miss even the simplest thing. You see? In fact, the Buddhist practice of mindfulness is just about bringing our attention to things which are not the mind. You see, it could be body sensation. When you're walking, just walk, which means pay attention to the sensation in your feet. What happens? You start giving value to the other aspects of your being, which it seems like in the human condition we've been neglecting. For so long. But even beyond the body sensations, isn't your being apparent to you now? Can you stop being? The mind will keep us fixated on this aspect, on itself. It wants all the attention and look at me.
Although you will say that as soon as you say being,
Yeah.
is there 1 second, what next? Okay.
Yeah.
And how long you can say that? Come back.
Yeah. Because you're still using the mind as a determinant of the truth of what is happening to you.
What else I have?
I'm showing you that the whole point of, see, before you came to Satsang, you were clear you have the mind.
Yeah.
So allow me that you come to Satsang to show you what else you have. You see? That you don't need to learn by coming to Satsang. That you are an expert. All of us were experts before coming to Satsang. How to use the mind, all the tricks of the mind, we are experts at that. You come to satsang to discover the truth which is beyond just the ability to conceptualize, the ability to interpret the world. So all of you can unmute. Any of you can unmute. Simple. So come, let's keep it like this. Let's keep it like this. Let's keep it like this. Let's keep it alive and full, like this.
Hello, Ananta-ji.
Hello, my dear.
Hi, namaste. Yeah, I've nothing prepared to say, but just just a glimpse or insight, if you want to call it, that nothing can actually affect this. Even the idea of the contents affecting this, actually, it's not true.
Just not true.
Either it's sattvic content or tamasic content or any content, and it's not, and this is nothing personal actually.
Exactly.
There's no,
Exactly.
and if even in memory, if I go back and recollect those moments, that this has always the contents changed at every age, at the age of 10, 15, 20, but this has been constant, and it's nothing I can claim that I have it.
Yes, yes, yes.
It's,
energetic play which seems to play out in this world, and it is not as simple as it usually defined to be, but even these notions of sattva, rajas, and tamas, they may have their own place in the play of the manifest. It's fine, and sometimes you may feel like if you're in a very sattvic environment, then to contemplate what is being pointed at in satsang is simpler. But if in a more rajasic or tamasic environment, it just can seem very, almost like an attack, in the sense like that. But ultimately, even through all of this play of the gunas, then our reality remains unchanged through that. No? The sakshi of all of this, the witnessing of all of this, which is exactly what you're saying, remains unaffected through all of this, isn't it? So the idea in satsang is not to say, okay, then I can live any kind of life and it doesn't matter if I'm fully tamasic, because in reality nothing happens. That is just like Advaita excuses. But the thing is that just to come to, and you notice many of you will say, when I come to satsang hall or something happens, that I just feel like all of this mind stuff was so heavy before I came, but easier. I wanted to ask you about this problem, but I come and sit in front of you. What problem? That's a problem. You see? So what happened? Some energetic support is being provided in some way.
I know. I have noticed that there was one conversation which we had. I think two satsangs before a man called, I think, Shrikant, and he said, "I've seen it that this is my nature, so then I can do whatever I want." So I started drinking, and then you pointed out it's not man se, it's not man se mukti. It's not man ki mukti, but man se mukti.
Yes.
So this can be, I can see that it plays, oh, now I know my nature, the mind plays like that. So I can go dive into tamasic stuff and nothing, but actually it's an excuse.
It can become an excuse. No?
It can become an excuse.
For most of the world, you say, what is your idea of freedom? Then that means they'll say freedom for me means whatever comes to my mind, I should be able to do. I should be able to get whatever comes, do whatever comes to my mind. So it is freedom for the mind. You see, the mind is proposing to us as freedom. But true freedom is freedom from the mind. So when you say free your mind, all these popular songs and culture, we have this idea of free your mind, is actually to get free from the oppression of the mind, to be freed from mental slavery actually. See, that is freedom. And the mental slavery is very, very oppressive because its representations of what we are so limiting compared to what we are in reality. So freedom is freedom from mental slavery. But the mind itself comes and says, no, freedom is for me, I should be the king. And we've seen where all those stories go, mostly, isn't it? Mostly in the world we see where those stories go.
Thank you for your presence.
Father.
Yes, yes. Hello.
So your question was, does what comes up, and there's been like a seeing recently that there's a psychological energy of there being a problem, and then the urge to fix the problem, but there's not actually a problem, but just the habit of needing to fix an energy that can't be fixed because it's not a problem to begin with, but just the energy of it. And
You see,
so
now,
that's been really interesting.
very devious. Thank you for pointing that out, because one very devious version of this is the mind convincing you that your very being is the problem. Okay? Like who was saying last week or the week before that, but the problem is I am still here, I have to go. And when we dug in, we saw that this I am is I amness itself. So the mind has played this trick. It is used spiritual pointing itself to make the being itself the problem. That which we are looking for has become now the villain of the piece. And we feel like till I am, till then I cannot be free. But how can you be awake without you, without your being? How will the waking state show up? Not possible. Is it? So this is probably the most devious form of the mind. But it plays in the same way with everything, because everything ultimately that shows up is your being. And to take that to be a problem, or take that to be a should not be, is the trick of the mind. It's always a mind attack. Can you say some more, my dear, about it?
Well, there's space to see to see it. There's like a space of seeing it and knowing that there doesn't have to be a story attached to the psychological energy that was once seen as negative. Like it's so it just appears as a bubble. It was seen that it appears as a bubble, and that seemed to be needed to be resolved. It's a habit. It was a habit. Like,
very good to see through that. Very good to see through that.
Yeah, and that same seeing that sees that is just, there's more clarity to see that everything is just seen. It's so it can just go, and there's more space for that to happen.
Exactly.
Guruji,
Yes.
I just so much relate to what Keisha was saying, because this is what was happening, or it's like the only thing is that the idea that the sensation shouldn't be here, something like that.
Yes.
Like there is not like a, even if there is a thought, I don't want to feel this. I'm just imagining the thought right now.
Yes.
It's like it's seen. It's like no, this is one is not true, and it just goes. But like this is like, yeah, this what you shall. Yeah, this. It's the only. Yeah.
The mind can convince you that something is a problem only when it has a claim to understanding what something is. See? The thing in itself, if it was determinable by the mind, then we would revere the mind. But it cannot be determined by the mind. So it has these broad buckets like sensation, perception, emotion, body, world, consciousness, awareness, self. These are the primitive sort of constructs which the mind has to try and make some sense out of this world. But actually it just makes nonsense out of this world. Is your experience of the world lacking if you did not have the label world? Is your experience of the world lacking because you did not have the label world? So you're experiencing, let's call this the world. We'll use the label world to get rid of the label world. Okay, so you're experiencing this. Is your experience of it lacking in some way? Suppose you were a baby, you're still experiencing the world. You did not have to know, okay, this is world, this is body, this is mama, this is papa. See? And without that also you were experiencing them. You know that you feel comforted in the embrace of the mother. You see? Did you have to be told, oh, this is your mother, that's why you feel comforted? No. You see? So everywhere we look, divinity is just playing in its most natural way. But we have got this like idea that only once I'm able to decipher, this is what's happening here, this is what's happening to me, this is what I can do to fix it. Now, if you remove that stethoscope, if you remove that self-diagnosis, what is missing? If you took your mind to be an instrument which cannot measure anything truly in time and space, although it claims to be the measurer of that, then what problem could you have? Okay, let's look at it this way. You have one life, okay? And you have one storybook life. Okay. Now the mind is telling you the storybook life. It has nothing to do with life. Okay? And it cannot have access to life. But it can give you the storybook anytime you refer to it. You see? So now, if you see it that way, are you able to look at life for life itself, or you always need the storybook alone? Our habit has become to just, okay, he's looking at me like this. Angry, angry. Okay? I'm exaggerating to make the point, but really our life has become like this. Okay, exactly, isn't it? The interpretive device dictionary, which is the storybook itself.
Namaste, Ananta-ji.
Namaste, my dear.
Hello. This is beautiful to be in satsang with you for the first time.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I just something's just it's been alive for basically my whole life. And actually, the other day I started to write a letter to Guruji about it. But it's sort of coming up now, so I'll bring it here. It feels good. So my whole living memory, like my whole life, I've always perceptually experienced this world, like the life, as a very much dream-like. It's a very surreal perception, and it's been like that. There's no beginning to that. It's all like the waking state is totally dream-like. Like it's just been a very interesting experience. Basically, like even when I was a child, I used to ask other children, so how much are we here? Like, how much do you reckon you're here? Like, percentage-wise, like how much are you here?
That's nice.
Like this kind of very inquisitive, like, thing from that young age. And in the experience of that, I suppose it's been quite, in a way, kind of isolating, because I haven't had found anyone to relate to about that experience. And obviously now being in satsang, it's making more sense. And when I was in the beautiful last Rishikesh season, and Guruji said the story about the child that said to his mother, how do we know this isn't all just a dream and we're already in heaven? And in the satsang hall, my body literally stood me up and said, can I speak about this? Like I had no control over it. And Guruji just said, not now. And I just sat down and had such an intense shame about that. But it was great because it brought everything, and I ended up in supportive presence with Mishika.
Give me a moment. Sorry, just give me a moment.
It's okay.
Goodbye to Amma. So happy you came. I was joking with her that she preempted our visit, so we don't come and give her the pressure.
Nothing like that. That made me think. Otherwise, I wouldn't have thought I would have accepted. I can't go. So that you said you come. That made me think, yes, I can go. Thank you.
You drop her to the cab.
Yeah.
Yes, sorry, my dear.
That's okay. And yeah, so she said in the supportive present, she said, but you're aware of this. And that was just like, it just changed it because, yeah, just that it was like, yeah, so even that is clearly just perceived and I'm the awareness. Nevertheless, the kind of question of like, why is it like this? Why is it like this? Because I suppose the intensity of experiencing, it's quite strong like this, because when things are really beautiful, it's very, very beautiful. And when things are very difficult, it's so extremely hopeless and horrible, and so horrible because everything's so, you know, and so in the past to take me to the point of, you know, very dark places and suicidal and all these sort of things and pregnant and all these, you know, intense things, and just, well, it's clearly not real. So what's even the point of being here? Like that's because the mind was grabbing it in those dark places. So now obviously I'm clear of that and it's wonderful, but and yeah, so now it's like, but I'm the awareness. But it feels for some reason that I just want to share this and expose this way of being, and that's really all. I don't know what else to say about it, but
this is very good. This is very good. And it's important to talk about this in a way, because this why question, or what is the point question, is very compelling. It's very compelling in the human condition. It's like, why? You see, we're plagued with this question. And we're plagued with this idea that everything must have a point. And if it doesn't have a point, then it's a bad thing. It's meaningless. Meaningless is a horrible word in the human plane. Oh, you have no meaning for me anymore. Yeah? That means I'm completely indifferent to you. So this kind of ideas are terrible in the human plane. But really, to examine whether the instrument that we have has the ability to determine the point of God's creation, or God's play, or God's will, you see, is a worthwhile contemplation. Where would we be able to determine the meaning of this? And many meanings have been provided to us, in spirituality also. In some groups, they will say it is a lila. That means it has no point, but it's not meaningless. It is a play. It's a play, chit vilasa. You see, the play of consciousness. See? Another will say it is so that God could experience itself in a manifest way, or God wanted to experience itself in a manifest way. You see? Or so love can be experienced. Some have even called it an evolution. Consciousness is evolving, so it has to manifest itself. But all of these answers are nonsense. Okay? But they're useful only to the extent that they help us take the question away. But behind the kind of the question is the human arrogance that my mind can determine what God is playing as, or God is playing with. But letting go of this limited instrument, in your heart, you know what this is. You know what this is, but you're not able to translate that into a mental model which makes sense to the mind. This is the thing. So trust implies that we trust our heart, our intuitive knowledge, our intuitive insight. Sometimes it makes us go left, and we don't know why we're going left. We're not able to translate that into any conceptual model. Just go left or look here. This guidance comes, but it doesn't come many times as go left because there you will find, you see, or go here because there you. It doesn't even many times say go left. You just find yourself going left. See, you're right, or whatever, or not going in here, whatever. So this trust or devotion implies that you don't need rationality to follow. See? If something was rational already, then why would you need devotion? We are used to following reason. No? If somebody gives you 10 reasons to come to satsang, one, you will be like this, two, you will be like that, three, then you will come anyway. No? You see, devotion means I don't know what's happening. And yet I find myself in satsang. And don't worry about it. It can be a development of trust and devotion. But it just comes to a point like that, where we don't know anymore, we're just allowing our heart to determine. And when the mind says, what are you doing? Are you being stupid? What does this actually mean? Many have showed up on the doorsteps of sages or in satsangs just like that. They don't know what brought them. There was no rationality.
Even if someone else asks, why are you going?
Yeah,
what are you doing? I
yeah.
don't know.
Oh, somebody asked me, what did you say in satsang? I don't know. I'm sure my daughter has reported some of this. She told him, you stay for 15 minutes and come and talk to me, because after 15 minutes you'll be like bored or you'll be done with it anyway. So it is not something that we can translate to ourselves. If we could determine everything that our heart says in our head, you see, then we need no devotion. We need no trust. Because we are programmed to follow rationality anyway. And if something is already rational, in satsang you hear that you will not get anything. One friend of Garima, who came to satsang a few times, so he told her, thank you so much, because I got nothing in satsang. Yeah? And he said, do you understand what I'm saying? She said, yeah, perfect. So who can understand that conceptually? You discover the nothing that you are. Discover the nothing that you are. So that explanation makes it more palatable to the intellect. But without that explanation, thank you so much. I got nothing in satsang. Not sarcasm. It sounds like very sarcastic. But just true gratitude. The mind cannot understand.
At the end of every satsang with you is like nothing. I mean, what came out was nothing.
Yeah.
Gold.
Yeah.
Still,
Yeah. Why do you come? Isn't it? You don't know why. I've had these reports. So we spoke about it last time. I decided I'm not going to come. I don't know why I'm here. My car just got me here. Was it you? Somebody said. Who can say? See, nobody wants to purposely come and hear these absurd things. So something greater must be driving us here. If we are coming like second time, third time, then some of you 100th time, 200 times.
Ananta-ji,
Yeah.
Father,
Hello.
yes,
Hello.
even to jump in and speak or not speak. Yes. At the beginning of the satsang, I sent you a message asking you to make a prayer for Lucia.
Yes.
And when you didn't answer, because I had in my mind that how it would go a certain way, and when it didn't happen like that, then the mind came and said that I'd failed, and so it's a very apt satsang.
Yes. It's very good to see it like that. In fact, I read the message and I'm grateful for the reminder, and we'll, of course, full prayer for Lucia and all her suffering and physical suffering that she's undergoing. I'm fully aware that Guruji's grace is completely with her, and all of us send our full love and blessings. May everything that she needs to make this seem light and easy be available to her through my Master's grace.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you.
But also very good that Grace worked in this way, that this conversation moved in this way, so that it gave you also some food for contemplation and to inquire. Because sometimes
Absolutely.
you can have a
Absolutely.
okay, I put this there, and Ananta will read that, and this is how it will go, and such a nice thing. So my mission accomplished. But many times life doesn't go like that. See, it doesn't go to plan, even when it is the simplest, most innocent request we have from life. It can just feel like, no, life decides to dance another way. You see? And how do we deal with those situations? Can even those be met with openness? Can those be met with acceptance? So beautiful, beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that, and thank you for this request for our sister. Yes.
May I jump in?
Yes. And yeah, any of you go, just jump in.
Hi. The girl that spoke before about like feeling that the world is a dream, or
Yeah.
it hit me so hard, like a brick of wall. So thank you for sharing.
Thank you. Thank you.
I don't know, but because most of my life I felt like this as well. Like I don't know, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
Still nothing changed. And it's like yeah, maybe the reason is not needed, but maybe to expose, like I was saying before, and it's like this, like I have like it's not like a desire, but like quite a strong feeling that I don't want to be here. It's not like a suicidal feeling, but more like sometimes it is. Sometimes depends on a mood, on things, but in general, it's more like
one rule I have for all Sangha members is that anytime you want to jump out of a window or something, don't jump out of the window, jump into an aeroplane and come to Bangalore. Okay? So all of you must accept this rule if you're going to be here. Yes?
yes.
Very good.
But I mean this feeling, it does not depend on anything that happens in my life. Again, I mentioned this before.
Yes, my dear. So let's look at this today. It's very good. And I also want to speak to Lania. I don't know how to pronounce her name, but I don't feel like we finished that conversation. But I feel like because we are on the same theme in some way, it's good to really talk about this. So if there's a sense that this is unreal, why is there why does the unreality of this experience have to mean that within this unreality, I have to find a way out of this in some way? It's unreal, it's just unreal. No?
Maybe because there are senses. There are like let's say something like there is life. You are here, so things do happen.
Yes.
It's like there's no escape of it from it. Where you can, let's say, escape, I would say, is to go within.
Yes.
Or go into some, let's say, stages of, I wouldn't say like samadhi or something, but go some almost to other dimensions, kind of, and stay there if possible, you know.
Okay, I want to say something. If one dimension is unreal, then every dimension is unreal.
Yes.
Okay, and only reality is that which is beyond dimension. Now, there is no guarantee that you jump out of one dimension and then you will come to a greater dimension which is more real or something like that. Okay? So we don't know how that is going to play out, and I'm not advising anyone to risk that exploration. For the moment, it is enough that you find the reality of your unchanging self in spite of whatever the play of unreality may be, isn't it? Because if there is a play, then it will be at the same level of unreality. Everything that you can perceive is, you can take it to be unreal from the Vedantic perspective, if you look at it from that perspective, you see. But ultimately, I also want to tell all of you that even that, you see, is provisional. In fact, the distinction between real and unreal ultimately is also in the intellect alone. It's not that God is saying, okay, only awareness is real. You see, now all of this is unreal, because real and unreal is also part of the play of the manifest itself. You see? So,
I feel as though it's so beautiful to hear as well, Atma-Jyoti. Beautiful. Because you said it's so this sensorially, it's so sensory in this way. It's not just a mental experience, it's literally just like, what is this? You know, it's so dreamlike.
so
But there's this natural detachment. Sorry.
I can just say something more about this before I forget, because my memory is so bad. So when we say, okay, this is so dreamlike, now there's nothing wrong with the dream unless there is still fear in the dream. You see, we only want to escape the nightmares, don't we? We don't want to escape dreams. Dreams are fine. You see? So unless there's an element of fear which makes us want to escape, like we want to run away from our scary dreams. If the dream is nice and everything is fine, then there's no trouble. Now, in the discovery of what you really are, it is not possible for us to have fear. I mean, the experience of fear may still come, but the elongated psychological fear because of the experience of the taste of the emotion called fear is just not possible. Because you notice that nothing can appear in this manifestation which can truly attack us in any way. You see? And many of us have the experiences of what the world calls lucid dreams and things like that. But it's just like the waking state, except that it's become very weird, what we call weird, but so does this waking state. So it's not really that different. And there's no impulse to want to escape that unless something really fearful or scary comes, isn't it? So examine whether the impulse to escape it is because of the unreality of it, which I don't feel like should provide any of that impulse, or there's a feeling that it is pointless and therefore I might as well just escape it. But this is a false notion that something can have a point which I can determine conceptually. Are you with me on that? That seems a bit absurd, isn't it? So unless you have an idea that in this creation, this realm of perception, I should be able to, I have the ability to determine the point, the meaning of life. You see? We cannot determine it to be pointless unless we still rely on the same instrument. Isn't it? Like, what is telling us that life is pointless?
The fear, only the fear, and the discomfort or the.
But even the discomfort is part of the dreamlike appearance and doesn't really tell us anything like that. It's still the interpretive mind which says, okay, now there's fear also. What's the point of being here? All I'm experiencing is this fear or something like that. You see? So the urge to put it in the box of meaningful or meaningless, both those boxes are only in the intellect. You see? And then if we rely on that kind of determination, then the mind says, okay, now because your current state is meaninglessness, what is the escape from this meaninglessness? But without the initial determination of meaninglessness, there would be no urge to really escape unless your constant experience was so much fear. You see? But it's not like that. Nobody has a constant experience of anything, but they have a constant interpretation of everything as something. Maybe we can read the transcript of it. I can see this mouth is going blah, 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 really fast. So, but you're with me? Tell me, I can repeat some of it, both of you. How is it?
I don't know. For me, it's like, I don't know, it doesn't resonate so much. I don't know why. Because I at least I don't feel like I have too many concepts concepts of real, not real, or I might do, I might not be aware, but it's not experience like that, like it's escaping or fear. I think those things may be natural to feel time to time in life, throughout life. Everyone on this earth will experience something like that, but this feels like something, I want to say, like deeper, but there's like a tiredness of and it's been like most of my life, like I always felt like older than anyone else, and always somehow different, somehow, I don't know.
Yes. I have a deep sense of what you're saying, but and yes, sometimes there's just this unexplainable sort of thing. But I want to take it even deeper and say, in my insight, it is not possible for consciousness to be projecting something unless it wanted to really experience it.
What do you mean?
In the sense that when you say deeper, let's go even deeper and say, okay, now you say that beyond the mind and its notions of meaning or meaninglessness, something deeper, just like, I'm done with this, I'm done with this thing. But let's go even deeper and say, okay, now is consciousness itself saying this? Saying that
No, Father, no, because if I wouldn't see that, there wouldn't be here today. Okay? Yes. Because I'm able to see that, here I am in front of you today.
See what? Just repeat that for me. What are you able to see?
See that even this, like, it's not that I'm tired, like life does not interest or something. It's being seen as another, like something, let's say, in consciousness as a happening, but it can never be my reality. It can never. But still, I don't know, it's just like maybe the relationship with it, or I don't know.
Yes.
It just somehow is a lot. Lately it became a lot. Like even it's like something very beautiful would happen in my daily life. This feeling doesn't go away.
Okay.
And it's not.
Let's look at the feeling then together, and then we'll come back to what I was saying. So you say it doesn't go away. Tell me about it right now. What is the feeling in itself, with as little interpretation as possible?
Just a thought. It's not even a feeling. Maybe some sensation in the body of like nervousness, but it's just a thought. Unreality, the dream itself, like it feels like it, but
just stay with this for a moment. It can feel a bit strange, but just stay with whatever you're experiencing, and just when you're communicating it as lightly, like sometimes I say, just describe, don't explain. Just describe, don't explain, because explanation needs a lot of knowledge. To describe, like a 5-year-old, like 5-year-old children, they say, I have a pain in my stomach, or something is hurting in my tummy, something like that, without knowing, okay, I think I have some gastric issue or something like that. That requires knowledge. So can you look at what is here and tell me, just describe it, don't explain it.
Honestly, I cannot. It's just something.
Cannot, because it is difficult to put in.
Nothing.
Or
it is nothing. Yeah, something, maybe a thought that it's my reality. Me. Yeah.
So these thoughts are coming and going. What else?
Se pueden agrupar como por piloncitos en función de si están relacionadas con ellos. Y desde ahí, que todos
Just to mute everyone for a moment.
It's because I'm looking for something.
You can unmute.
Yeah. It's because I'm looking for something, so
So
I
that's
can find.
pause. So that's an explanation to infer and put causes. Just tell me the content of your experience right now without any derivative interpretation.
Feeling sensation of the body.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
That's all.
What about your being itself?
It's like I don't know, like even being can be perceived, and
In a way, you are aware of your being. Yes. So, is there any sort of notion of reality, unreality, dreamlikeness, or waking state, any of that?
but even it's like
Remember, not to explain, just to describe.
now the feelings of like I don't know, some pleasant feelings are coming up.
Yes. Good. And good doesn't mean because it's pleasant or unpleasant. It's just that you're able to stay with as simple a description as possible.
Now the thought, but it does not solve my problem.
Yes. Thought is saying it does not solve my problem. You see? And the thought will also know what the problem is if you ask. Yeah. But it also proposed to you some time ago that the problem is always there. But in the just looking for it right now in the most simple, innocent way, what did we find? Just a set of sensations, just that set of sensations which we call the body, maybe some even pleasant feelings, but it doesn't matter whether it was pleasant or unpleasant, it's a set of feelings, you see, but no conceptual problem about any reality, unreality, or being here or not being here. All of that is not relevant to just your pure state of being.
Yes, but somehow I wish that I wouldn't have this, because like makes life quite interesting. Maybe not.
I understand that, but maybe this itself is a tool that you can use. You can just notice for yourself whether you're just staying with a direct seeing of what is appearing or you're falling into some sort of even subtle interpretive tendency. And that is all that freedom is actually. That is all that freedom is. And these interpretive tendencies will get subtler and subtler till they seem like, but I'm not interpreting, you see. I'm not interpreting at all. I don't feel like I'm interpreting. But even that is an interpretation. If you are able to put yourself in any limited construct as if you are a body mind, there has to be an interpretation. Otherwise, that construct is not possible without even the subtlest notion. So when the mind proposes to us that, but I'm always like this, and I don't think I'm being conceptual at all right now, but I'm always like this. But if you notice that I is what in that, and you can notice very well, then there must be mind in that. Which is not, no, it's not a F on our spirituality or something, F grade or something. Okay? It is just that the tricks of the mind become subtler and subtler. You see? And sometimes it tries to speak as if it is the heart itself. Hello, I'm your heart calling. You see, I feel like I always have this problem. Like, I who? Because the I, as this little old me, as I've been calling it, is a representation which has to be a notional representation or a limited representation. So,
Now,
maybe the tool could be just to remain in as much as possible this pure perception. And consciousness is not making a mistake by presenting itself with all of this play of light and sound. When it is done with it, it goes to sleep. When it wants to taste it again, I mean, I'm putting it in primitive terms, but when it wants to taste it again, it comes up again. So we do not conceptually have the capability to be able to determine, no, this is all a big mistake. And that is the trouble sometimes you can have with Vedanta because of the notion of unreality. You see, you can just feel like all of this is a big mistake.
no, actually, I do feel like if I do sit down and really like concentrate on it, it's not that it disappears, but the world disappears, all these things disappear.
Yes, but not disappear in a conceptual sense. It's like the notion of the world disappears. Like the notion which could say, okay, this is body, this is world, this is being, this is self, all that disappears. Duality disappears.
It's something like maybe Papaji said, nothing ever happened.
Yes.
In that way more.
Because the notion of happen also disappears. The notion of something and nothing also disappears.
Yeah, but I'm so grateful that this came up. So grateful. Thank you so much.
As well again, because it's kind of the same.
And maybe lately that is something again maybe similar question I had before, but like it's not that I'm trying, but naturally I want to maybe stay, and some things I don't know, I just I don't want to pick, just leave it altogether, leave it. There's that's what's happening. And maybe I don't know, maybe sometimes I think maybe it's responsible, maybe I should look like deeper, but I don't know.
To leave everything conceptually is your greatest responsibility. How about if you put it like that?
So I'm taking my responsibilities very seriously.
By thinking it all. I'm talking about inwardly, yes? I'm not talking about anyone having to remember the world or any of that. Just your inward space is all open and empty. You see, whether outward activity is full of work or just sitting on a couch all day, it doesn't matter so much.
The beauty of the simplicity of just saying not to interpret.
Yeah.
I mean, that was just really potent and yeah, perfect.
Very good. Very good.
And something came up in the current Sahaja Express Satsang about, I just jotted down some, to do with this, the dreamer and the dreamed, and it's like clearly there's a dream happening, and now through the grace of Guruji and Satsang, it's that the dreamer is actually the unreality. The only thing that's real is this awareness, and so that is the beauty. And so when you're saying just don't interpret, it's so clear. It's beautiful. Yeah.
That's very good. As simple as that. As simple as that. Very good. Very good. Thank you. Thank you. One says, even without the feeling of jumping out of the window, wish to jump into an aeroplane and come over to Bangalore. Yes, you're very welcome. All of you should be able to unmute yourselves. How's the room?
Hey, Father.
Hello. Oh, my dear.
Hello. Hello. I have one question I want to check with you. So maybe you guide me a bit. Okay. Yes. The thing is, so right now the second bird is there, and third bird also there. House is there and it's beautiful, but the person thinks it's the person. So I don't have the recognition that I am the self.
I see. I see. Okay, thank you. This is beautiful, beautiful question.
Yes.
So let's really look at this. So there's a body mind in the realm of activity, and it's doing all of whatever happens in the realm of the waking state. So that is the first bird. There's a mind which interprets that first bird to be me, myself. That interpretation or belief in that interpretation is what we call the person. Yes? But you know that that which is perceiving all of this, the being which is perceiving all of this, remains untouched by any of that play. And beyond even the being, there is awareness which is aware even of the perception that the being is having. Isn't it? Now, all of this that you're saying, you say that you recognize this, isn't it?
Yes, I recognized. So both the witness and the absolute, I recognize right now.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
So when you say the recognition is not here, just because the mind continues to take itself to be or tries to present the proposal that you are a person, doesn't mean that you have not recognized the truth, isn't it? Because you are saying that I recognize that I am this awareness, which is aware of, which is perceiving the activity of this body.
Yes, as Guruji said, the truth is even beyond two and even beyond one.
Exactly.
But my question is now, so I have right now a bit of feeling of oneness and a bit of feeling of person. It's like a mixture, and of course the truth is there, the absolute is there.
Yes. So don't expect your feeling to confirm your oneness. Expect only the truth to confirm your oneness. And you're saying the truth is always there. So what effect does the change of feeling have on the truth?
No effect.
Isn't it? So we are not, our job then is not to provide a set of feelings which the mind can interpret as your stability in your freedom. Because those benchmarks are not ones you can use for your freedom. You see? It is just to see that in reality it is so apparent to me that I am this pure witnessing that is aware of this immense beingness that is here, within which this play of the body-mind and all the activity of the universe happens, which includes the play of feelings, thoughts, emotions, all of these things. It has nothing to do with which branches the bird can pick up or not, isn't it?
Has nothing to do. No.
So then to say that because the nest looks like that, I am not fully free because it doesn't have the right leaves and branches, you see, which means it doesn't have the right emotions and feelings or thoughts, then that would be a fallacy.
Yes, but sometimes I have like more that in the mind it appears that somehow I'm not so much the doer, and somehow even the doer is less there, so it's like the solution of the doer, so a little bit, but then the mind likes it and says, this is oneness.
Yeah.
Then suddenly I'm out of that and I'm totally the doer, and I know truth that is there, and then I want to have the oneness. But I think, yes.
I want to tell you that you're using the wrong measuring tape. You see?
Okay.
Measuring tape will only take you in a loop all the time. Sometimes it will tell you you're there, sometimes it will tell you you lost it, sometimes it will tell you you're almost there, sometimes it will tell you you're not getting it at all. All of this will come in the. So whatever you can use to measure your freedom, if you throw that away, then that is freedom.
Even throw away oneness or two-ness of the mind. So
definitely.
Okay.
In fact, everything that you can throw away, throw away.
Yes.
Yes, that is freedom.
Yes.
No. No.
What?
You were doing very well, and then you started going to the measuring tape again. So don't do that. Let it go. It's fine.
You saw on my eyes that I go to the mind again. Okay. Yes. So just recognize truth all the time.
No.
And
no, even this idea you can throw away.
Yeah.
Tell me something which is, tell me about yourself which doesn't include the mind intellect.
I can't. I don't know. Yeah, there's maybe.
Okay, pause. So wherever you went for that answer, just forget about that.
Forget about what answer?
The place that you went to, let's call it a place, where you went to determine that answer, you see, Don't go there. Don't worry about that. Whatever is happening in that playground, let it happen. You don't be bothered by it. It is not telling.
Yes.
It is not telling you the truth over there.
Yes. It's a conceptual version of the truth. It's a mind version of the truth. And yeah.
But the mind version of the truth is what is called false.
Yes. Yes, of course. Even of the truth. Yes. Yes, but then it will come. So right now, I have really the feeling to be like one, but it will come.
What if I have a feeling? Are you just hiding a thought with the word feeling?
Yes, yes, I did make the mistake again that I took the mind versions of oneness for the truth. Thank you.
So good.
Yeah.
So good. That's it. So simple. That's my version. Don't make any conclusion based on that.
Ananta-ji?
Yes, I think.
Yes, I try to jump in here because I have the feeling that we are touching all the time again the fact that I'm looking at the fact that we are in satsang, even if we don't want anymore, or we want, as you said before, we just come because something is happening here, and I'm always fascinated by that, because it is the fact that makes us meet here.
Yeah.
And just now what happened is so beautiful for that, because I observe that we all experience that what makes us stuck or is that the person or the mind goes into all sorts of scenarios and the storytelling, as you say, and so we all are always putting things together and doing them together in a special way in the moment for the necessity of being somebody and expressing something coherent and so on.
Yeah.
And so even in satsang, it happens all again and again that we are trying, and it happened, to hold things together, to sort them out in a special way and so on, because otherwise what are we doing here, you know?
Yes.
But actually we come because we don't want that, but we do it. We don't want it, but we do it because it's a habit. So and so that's why the image came to me that few weeks ago of the we come to look where there is light, because we lost the light there, and or there in
We lost Etienne.
Father, may I come?
Yes.
Hello.
do you hear me? I'm back.
Oh, yes, yeah. I was just saying it.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, first Etienne can speak and then I will come.
Thank you, my dear. So, yes, what he's sharing actually is very beautiful before Etienne says that we hear in Satsang not to make any conceptual pictures of what is happening, what this is, so that we sort of try to create a coherent version of the world or what is here. And yet, there's a temptation even in Satsang to use spiritual concepts to make that same house of cards in some way. And that is why in Satsang, many times I use the word provisional, or just for now, we'll use this concept so that it replaces the previous sticky concepts. And then also, it is my job to clean up the newer ones. So, any concepts that I have given you, it's also my job to clean those up when they have done their job. So, but a beautiful insight being shared by Etienne on this.
Yeah, and so that's why I want again to look at the fact that what is happening in Satsang is, as you just said now, clearing again and putting away what is conclusive, and so and here I bring, I see that the light of now is just unreplaceable by anything else, and something is like, a German poet Goethe, he said something like, what is more precious than light and gold? What is more precious than gold? Light. What is more precious than light? Dialogue. And Satsang is a perfect illustration of that. So I feel I'm attracted to this place and to this happening because it is a cure of it awakes the true life in me, which is not conclusive, which is not grasping.
Yes.
And so I'm always so grateful, even if I'm lost many times.
Yes.
Just feeling the energy, because many times the sound is not good enough and so on, and not my language and so on. I'm swimming a bit, but I'm always happy, even if I've been struggling or sleeping, even,
Yeah.
But the energy of this meeting now around this is unreplaceable. But I must say, I'm longing. I feel it is contagious, and grace is happening. It's coming. It's freeing. It's freeing. Thank you.
Very beautiful. Thank you.
Ananta, I would like to talk.
Yes, my dear. Jada was coming after this. After that, you can.
Okay.
Thank you, Father.
Thank you.
Okay. Sorry, I don't know now. Sorry, Father.
It's fine. Take your time. while she's is contemplating her question. The mind actually never proposes something which it claims is false. Even if it says, but this is false, it's saying that this is true that it is false. Isn't it? So when we were saying to the sweet boy before that the mind's version of truth is what we call the false. Is it? No belief is believed because we consider it to be false. Belief is believed because we consider it to be true. So consciousness has the ability to take the false to be true, or the limited representation to be a good enough representation. To play with those representations is called playing with ignorance or believing in Maya. So just like that. But outside of the mind, there is no such thing as false. So when I say, what else is there to you? Without your interpretive tendency, what do you meet? Even when you meet the body sensations as pure perception, there's no trouble. There's no real problem for the mind to fix, for us to deal with. It's in the tiny playground of the mind where all this game is happening, and we are missing the rest of ourselves in that play. And that is also part of the whole play.
I just want to cry.
And even as you cry, you notice that the crying in itself is innocent. Is it? All of us crying may say, "Oh, why is she crying?" And that is the need for the narrative. See? That is the need for the narrative which all of us have. It's like we need reason behind everything. So it's just not sitting there, all the tears and everything else is coming out, you see? And because the mind doesn't know how to grapple with it, you feel like it'll only be satisfied once the why is answered. But suppose Jada is just like, doesn't tell us why. No? Then it says, why is she crying? Oh, maybe something which is too private. We need an answer. Like we'll leave it only when we're able to solve it, or something else comes which is more exciting for us to resolve. So have we noticed this tendency? There's like the need to be able to determine why. Like why is she crying? Like a big mystery that all of us have to solve, but we don't have to solve. You see? Because even she doesn't know why she's crying. Nobody knows conceptually why anything happens.
And I feel so comfortable with it.
Yeah.
Actually.
So this is the magic. Like once you learn to leave the why alone, then we are free, no matter what is happening. Time, the notion of causation is very much linked with the why question. That this, therefore, then because of that, this keeps us in that story structure of these frames which keep moving forward like a comic book narrative. If you ever read a comic and the next frame has nothing to do with the previous one, you just, am I missing some pages? What is happening? We're so used to that linearity in our thinking. That something which seems like outside our realm of rationality can seem too much. Yeah.
I don't know now, Father. I was being triggered beginning of the satsang, first when you talk about thoughts, I just thought that what is thoughts actually?
What is
yeah, what is thoughts?
you know that you thought what is thoughts? You know that you thought that, no?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a thought.
Then, Father, what I realize is that before I met you, or maybe even Guruji, it's like we just read, you know, like this is a thought and thoughts are not real, all these things. And after that, of course, some misunderstanding happened. And I just remember this, and that's why I triggered. Like, whatever arise within my perception, it turned into like, oh, this is a thought, and it turned into kind of rejection, you know, whatever it is. And then, of course, the insight is also something which appears, and also intuition is also something appears. And what I realized in my life, that I actually don't reject thoughts. I didn't reject the thoughts, but I reject all the intuitive voice within me, and it caused too much trouble. I just realized that, and this was the first trigger. And then you were talking with Satyam, and you said something to him also, like Advaita causes. I don't remember now, but this one also was the second trigger within me, because I saw how I played them and how I really suffer. And I don't know, it's like the tears of this. I laugh because I explain my tears. Anyway, and when I come to you, I just realized that at the same time how being with you, even though they are still playing, I can see them, and I still suffer them on some level. But at the same time, I couldn't speak with you because I see how, I don't know, being with you just removes all these things at the same time. Like something else has taken over my life, and they are not so much relevant anymore, but they are still there. So I don't know, just this for now.
It is something which takes back its own life.
I don't know, just so much crying comes.
Yes, I don't know is very good. That's all Guruji told me on the hot seat, actually. Yeah? That's all Guruji. I don't know is very good. If you know, it messes it up, it will.
Yeah.
Just because you explain your tears doesn't mean that that is exactly what the tears are for. You can never see. It's just part of the storybook. So was the storybook life versus life? In storybook, we know why and why not. In life, there is no such thing. Remind me of this metaphor. Because it's a useful tool to communicate. Because many times we take storybook life to be life. Storybook life? Why is it in the life?
Yeah, that's why I struggle with talking.
Why is it? But you know why you struggle with talking? Like, I don't know anything and I don't struggle with talking.
I couldn't understand you.
Yeah. I was saying that many times I can feel like because I don't know. That's why it's a struggle to communicate. But many times, because we don't know, communication is not a problem.
I I feel a little bit distant to you. I don't know why, and that's why I cannot open myself in this conversation, and it doesn't go anywhere
What
now.
do you feel?
Hmm?
What do we mean by feel? Is feel a term for thought?
No, it's just something so stupid.
What is
There's a reason.
feel is another Advaita excuse. Like I'm just feeling, because we know that he's just going to say that's just a thought.
It's not feeling, Father. It's not.
Distance.
You're not giving anything to hold. You're trying to hold and then you're something to hold.
So what is your heart really asking for? Your mind is clamoring for something to hold, but your heart's longing is being fulfilled by making you completely naked, completely empty.
Feel is just a way to not take my thoughts seriously.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's a feeling, it's not just a thought, it's a feeling.
It's just something so
Feeling.
stupid. But anyway.
Just like any other perception, no feeling is actually decipherable by the mind. It can only be met in your openness and in your heart. See? So embrace everything that you feel and you experience in your heart, and don't try to determine what it is so much in your head, saying that this is what this feeling is creating this, it is creating that. Our mind doesn't know what anything is.
Without I put something, this conversation doesn't go anywhere, and I can't, Father. I'm close to you.
This is storybook live, all storybook live.
Okay, then.
Thank you. Next one.
Hello, Ananta-ji.
This is the funny thing that, like many times I've had this experience where somebody will come to me, they will say, I'm close to you. And if I say, okay, then they feel like they're rejected. But you said I'm close to you. I'm not saying that I am close to you. You see? This is the funny nature of the mind. I'm so close to you, I don't want to talk right now. Okay, we'll talk later. Oh, he's rejecting me. But you said I'm close to you. It's hilarious. Okay, let's go to Gemma.
Hello, Ananda-ji.
Oh my dear.
I want to talk about something that for me is very seriously and
Very?
serious.
So, is the intent of your saying me is very serious so that I should take it seriously?
No.
Good to clarify that. Good to clarify.
Okay. The point is that I've been feeling better and like as a mental and physical and myself.
Yes.
But there's this attachment of all this time of suffering.
Yes.
That I cannot take it out of mind. Like I cannot stay like, oh, I feel fine now, but all this suffering is there. It's some way in memory, of course, but it's there, no? And it makes me feel like anger, and sadness. And also,
Let's pause here for a moment. So something is coming up to say. Firstly, I'm very happy to hear that you're feeling better. I'm very, very happy to hear that. Now, on the point about almost like there was a habitual suffering in the past, and there is suffering which is in the memory. Now, I want to just point out that if something is in the memory, what does it mean? If it is only in the memory, what does it mean? That is gone, isn't it?
Yes.
Only in the memory, so it's gone. So not the conclusion that it is there because it is there in memory, but actually the conclusion that it is gone because it is only there in memory, which means it is past. Only past is in the memory, therefore it is gone. So it is something that is worth celebrating if we can say, all my suffering now, there was a habit of it, but now it is only in the memory. That means, wow, this is gone. It is only in the past.
Yes.
So there's nothing to fix in the memory. You see? Nothing to resolve in the memory because memory is there. It is gone.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to cling to memory. You see, memory is just so-called images from the past, you see, which we can't even confirm. So best to leave that to past alone.
Yes, but it's not only in memory.
Oh, I see. I thought you said.
That's the point. The thing is that all this suffering, because I explained you many times about mental health and in my experience in mental health. But the thing is that I'm with association in mental health where there's only meeting people that has mental health experience in themselves. So we meet and we make different projects. Now the project we are doing mostly in this association is peer-to-peer, which means
peer-to-peer.
Peer-to-peer, yes, like we give some, I don't know in English.
Is it like a one-on-one?
Yes, one-to-one.
Like association.
Mutual support.
Yes.
Yes, okay. And so, like yesterday, we had a meeting via Zoom, and of course, when we meet, it's like we see each other as we are first person in mental health experience. So it's there, So if it's there, I can rely in my own memories somehow. And yes, if I'm feeling okay, I can say, okay, I'm fine. But there's this this thing of wanting to solve somehow all about mental health, and it's like okay, I don't want to be more with these people because I don't want to feel this way anymore, and meeting with them and remind me in memory or even project me in things that in future can happen, many things that happened in the past in me. So, but is the real, this reality of being with them and with my own experience and the experiences that are similar, that we are working in this material moment. So I don't want to quick neither that. And so I don't want makes me it makes me a complexity in mental.
Makes me what?
A complexity in mental.
It gets gets the mind complex like that.
It can not all the time, but it can like this complex of. No, I don't want to say this actually. What I want to say is that it's like I have to be here as a human or as a person also to be able to what is how is my life unfolding?
Unfolding, yes.
If I'm okay, my life seems is gonna be unfolding in this subject, right? So
we don't have to predict or preempt or try to determine what the content of life has to be. You stay with this sense of beingness, the presence, and the guidance which is making you feel better, and you're very clearly better. So you stay with that and leave whatever has to unfold to grace. You don't have to say, oh, should I be in that? Should I do the peer-to-peer? How should I be in the world? That really is not your business in some way now. Because your business is to remain with presence, remain with the Sadguru's light in your heart, and let that light take care of what shows up. And you don't have to manage that kind of thing in this way, because the mind doesn't have the capacity to manage it, and will only create more problem, more stress.
But I see.
It's okay.
It's because I have in my mind I have a twin, I don't know in English, because I feel more calm. But anyway. Oh yes. I wanted to say that I've been since last November just doing nothing.
Yeah.
Just sitting in the couch. Just feeling very bad, feeling many things, feeling very bad, staying in the hospital after depression, blah, 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 blah. Feeling very bad, okay? And now that I'm feeling good, let's say this way, it's like there's like it's like there's this energy that wants to move, right? So like I applied yesterday to the meeting when I haven't been applying to this meeting that is once a month for many months. Yes. But yesterday I could apply, I could stay there, right? And
I just want to say something about this, which is that as the energy comes, very naturally some life force will come. If consciousness wants to move this body in this way, it will also provide the life force, the life energy for it to move. So even that you don't have to trouble with, because if the energy is there, then it will make the movement also happen. It is not a half energy which will just be there and then somebody there has to decide, should I move because the energy is there. The energy itself will move you. It is intelligent enough to move you if it has to, and it is intelligent enough not to move you if it doesn't have to. So even that is not something that you have to think about or determine. You see, maybe this energy just goes up and then it'll move it. It'll move the body in itself. It'll move the mouth, it'll move the hands to type or to go the feet to go somewhere. You see? We don't have to, the same thing, the same consciousness, the same being which is providing that energy also will provide the intention behind the energy and move the body in whichever way it has to move.
But there's something else that I don't know if it comes from mind. That is that it's like if I can rest if I rest here in this peaceful place, it is like I'm more it's like there's more wisdom, and it's like I want to take this wisdom to, because I'm there's a lot of anger about mental health, so it's like there's this, like if I want to solve.
Okay.
So there's in one hand, it's like I have to control, I don't get crazy again. And on the other hand, I have to
Okay, my dear. So both of these opposites, whatever the alternatives may be being provided, they are just conceptual and in the intellect. You see? Now, going beyond the mind, going beyond the intellect is what is making you feel better. So don't get involved in any of that problem solving or determining, should I do this, should I do that. Allow grace to provide whatever intelligence, whatever energy is needed for this life to flow in whichever way grace wants. You don't have to say, okay, should I share my wisdom about mental health, or should I just remain peaceful on the couch? None of those problems are for you to solve. Is it? Nothing is for you to solve in this way.
Yes. Yes.
It can feel a bit wobbly, like I need to know which direction to go. You see, the mind will say, I want to know, should I be more like this? Should I be more like that? But allow it to be undetermined and the movie to play out fresh, every scene to play out fresh. If you were able to predict every scene of the movie before it happened, then it would not be a fun movie to watch. So don't determine. Let's see what the director has in store for you.
But it's like I don't have this feeling of myself is moving, or if it's moving by itself, it's kind of a craziness or something.
The homework for this week is to see if you can find somebody who is moving the body. See if you can find the me or the I which is moving the body.
You mean doing activities or thinking or memory or feeling?
Any movement which I take to be mine, any action which I take to be mine, then to see if you can find the doer of that action.
But this can bring me to a crazy state.
Okay. So then you don't do this homework. Then you do what you're doing. It's fine. It's fine. We'll do this later.
Because there's like an attention there that gets very confused, and then I can go to the hospital and they.
That's fine. Then that's fine.
Because I'm.
Then no homework for you for this week. You're good.
Okay. Yes, I don't know. I wanted to ask you a question which is very clear, but
It's completely.
I don't know right now. That doesn't come right now.
I'm very happy. I'm very happy to see that you're feeling better, and all my love, all my blessings are with you.
Thank you.
Very,
Ananta-ji,
yes, yeah.
can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Yes, thank you. Oh, thank you so much. I didn't know how to jump in. So I just came now for my brother, actually, not for myself. Actually, for myself as well, because the suffer of my brother is just lead me always to a limited somebody who want to help him and want to do something, but doesn't really know what, because I really tried a lot of things nicely and forcing and everything to make him listen to Satsang or Guruji or you, but he has a lot of resistance, and with my force his resistance is just growing up, but I can see him so much pain in his heart and so much scar, and he's so lonely actually, and he's very angry to all the world, and he don't know where to find the peace, and he don't want to hear about the truth, and I don't know why. I don't know how the grace is working to get somebody and doesn't another body. I just praying for him, but I don't feel is enough, and always this limitation is here, because it's a lots of pain in my heart as well. Then he is not open to the truth, and I don't know why. I don't want to ask why, because you say it's not a good question, but I mean, you say we always live the universe, time and space on satsang, but now I just don't want to live without him, because I don't want he stay here to suffer and I just leave, and I don't feel is fair, and I just want he come with me. He come with you, with Guruji, and I don't know. I just now think maybe the best things to ask you, if you could pray for him, please, in the best way you can, but like to get the freedom and the highest truth. I mean, as soon as possible. Or yes, thank you very much, Ananta.
Full prayers for him. But I want to tell you also that the idea that I don't want to be free without my brother being free is not helping his freedom. Huh? So the best gift that you can give to yourself, to the world, to your family, to everyone is your freedom. And if all the ones that are free would have said that we don't want to be free unless our full families are free, then we would not have any satsang happen ever. So know that the mind can trick you in this way. So you leave time and space conceptually, and that is a better gift that you can give to him, rather than to give him necessarily a lot of advice as to what to do. And think not that that is a bad thing. You can follow your heart about that. But the greatest gift to anyone in this world is to come to the presence of one who is free, who is beyond these constraints of time and space. So why would you not want to give your brother this gift also?
I want.
There may be this idea that is being selfish or something, and do this alone, but I'm not that selfish. But it's not selfish at all. It is the greatest gift that you can give to the whole world and all of humanity, past and future, that you allow yourself to remain in the truth of your discovery and not get caught up in the false. It will not make you empty of compassion or kindness. In fact, the truth when it meets the world is full of compassion and kindness. The mind may paint a picture of us saying, oh, but when you left the time and space, you're just like so aloof and so out there, you see, with glassy eyes, and nobody can talk to you then. This is just not true.
Yeah.
So both my full blessings to your brother, full prayers. And I want to also say that when somebody is suffering, the suffering will open up some door for them somewhere in their heart. You see, it will open up. because nobody enjoys constant suffering. And if they enjoy it so much, then they're enjoying it. Then we don't have to worry. You see? So, but if they're not really enjoying it and they're really suffering their suffering, then some door has to open somewhere. And whether it is this type of satsang, some other spirituality, some other search for God, some inward looking for truth, it has to open up. You see? Because it is not designed to withstand so much suffering. Our systems in this play cannot withstand that much suffering. Unless just a habit which we are enjoying, it's like an addiction which we end up enjoying, so we don't really want to give it up, then that's also okay, we're enjoying it, it's fine.
Anantaji, I just would like to say that I knew a lot of. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, sorry. I just have a new tablet now, and I'm not sure how it's working. So, for example, I know people who was really suffering a lot, all in their life, and actually they died, and they never met anybody who told everything about who you are or what you are, and it seems to me is like a meaningless suffering life, and yeah, and I couldn't help to them either, and now they just not here anymore, and I don't want this happen to my brother as well. So
but death is not the end of the story.
I know, yeah.
Only
That's true.
Only freedom is the end of the story. So don't worry. Death is just a small pause.
Yeah, that's true. Thank you. And please, could you ask Guruji grace as well for my brother?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
When I ask for grace, I'm always asking Guruji's grace.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Anantaji.
No, thank you. Okay. Elena, if you want to come, you can come. Hello.
Hello, Ananta-ji. Nice to see you.
Same.
Same. Well, I actually I have not much to say. I have no questions. I just feel like things are unfolding just fine. Actually, I'm turning this phone because then I have you in a bit of a picture. 1 second. That's better. Yeah, I can see you better now.
Okay, good.
Now, although I haven't spoken to you for a while, and I also had maybe some resistance to come up, I still see that shifting is happening, and so no questions for that, because I just have trust in that there are
no reason for the resistance. I'm just a harmless little lamb. What am I doing? I'm not
I know, it's just the mind part that is telling me not to come up, but
people in
yes,
the harmless little lamb. Who are you talking about?
yeah, but I just thought, well, if there is some resistance, I just want to come up. I don't want to listen to the mindset telling up. But I have no question, and everything is
very
fine, actually.
Very.
Yeah, just unfolding by itself, and not much to say. Not much to say.
This much is
yeah, I still see that there are these subjects in which the identity is playing. I can see that it's then I need some time to step back into consciousness, so to speak.
Yes.
But that will dissolve as well. I just trust in that.
You're doing very well, my dear. I'm happy, so happy to hear your report. And
Thank you.
all my love, all my blessings.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Oh, one more hand.
Oh.
Okay, come, whoever's coming, come.
Father, it's Madalena here.
Yeah.
Um,
You were also saying something about resistance and all that. And I look at what's not to like. You know?
I didn't understand what you're saying, but I heard resistance.
This
and
man,
that-
what's not to like? Because so many of you have been reporting about resistance and things. I know, I'm just messing around. Don't worry.
Uh, I have this sense that I'm living life based on mind projections and
Stop it.
stop.
Stop it.
It's very clingy and I can't
Stop
let
it.
it go. I can stop it here, but I don't stop it tomorrow.
Resistance. Where is it? It's gone. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. It's gone.
Can you stop it for me if I can't?
Stopping it for you. I'm already stopped.
Can you stop it tomorrow and the day after and always?
No, stop it now. There's only now. Stop it now. Don't put always, because always is the biggest trick from the mind. You say that I'm suffering from mental oppression. See? I'm telling you that you are consciousness, and consciousness can never really be trapped in mental slavery. But when we take ourselves to be that which we are not, then it can feel like it can really happen that way. See? So I say stop it. You drop your dependence on the mind for an instant, and what you are is freely apparent to you. Whether your mind agrees with that or not is not the question here. You see? But in your heart, it is completely apparent to you. It is unmissable for any of you. Now, if you need it to be only in the mind, then nobody can help you. If you need that obviousness of your reality to be translatable to the mind and your mind to give you the certificate that you have stopped, then nothing can help, you see, because the mind is not built like that. It is not built for that. And even when it says those things, it is only as a trap. So I don't want you falling into those traps. Right now you are free, and in your heart you know that, and you know what your heart is. In spite of all the resistances from the mind. Because the mind will keep pulling you back in the narrative and say, okay, what about when I'm not in Satsang, tomorrow, next year, always. All this is about the storybook life. Tell me what your heart is saying now.
My heart wants to cry now.
Yes. Yes. Our tears are very beautiful.
My heart wants to say you are beautiful, not my dear.
You are too. That's why I keep asking, what is your heart saying? Mind things that I'm aware of. So I'm just wondering if there's another version.
My heart feels like it wants to take the children and just break up with this world of illusion.
Take the children and break up with the world of illusion. Your heart is saying like that?
I think so. I don't know.
Or is that just an interpretation of some feeling? So you and the kid are not in the illusion, or everything else in the world is illusion. It's like a simulation game where only 3 real entities are there.
I can accept that the 3 entities might not be real in your world.
I'm just using your reference point of the world of illusion. The world of illusion. Everything else except the 3. I have to say ultimately that even the notion of illusion and reality is illusory. Even these are provisional to point you to something that we have neglected in the past. That the witnessing which is beyond the realm of perception. So the pointing about the reality of the self is so that we can bring some focus into this aspect which has been missing in the past. But it is not so that at the end also we are left with a notion of illusion and reality. It's also provisional. That demarcation is also just provisional. So as we forget all opposites, even these opposites have to be forgotten.
Can you help me to see clearly there is no you and me?
In your sight, it is already clear. It's only in your interpretation where the separation arises. Just allow your perception to perceive, what we call pure perception here. So you've heard this often. So allow all perception to happen and see if naturally in any perception there is separation inherent.
When you say perception,
anything that you can see, anything that you can hear, anything that you can taste, touch, smell, all perception.
okay, so the guidance is to allow that to happen.
Yes, without interpreting, without judgment, without labeling.
I feel there is nothing without labeling and interpretation.
That nothing is very good.
Amen.
Oh, is that not how you meant it? Oh, okay.
I don't know. Sorry, what did you ask?
I said, is that not how you meant it? Did I hear it a different way? You said there is nothing without
Yeah.
interpretation.
Oh,
That nothing is your reality. That nothing.
the nothing.
Someone told Garima that day, no? Thank you so much. I got nothing by coming to Satsang. And hopefully he wasn't being sarcastic. What is the problem in that nothing? To allow just the pure perception to be there without labeling, interpretation, categories of good, bad, must change, not right, all of these things. Very good. Very good. Let's stay with this, and I want to hear a report next Friday on this remaining in pure perception.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Ananta.
Yes, yes, my dear. I was just putting a bhajan, but you can come.
Could I ask you one question again, even if I ask?
Please.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, thank you, Father, for your help. Yes. So I'm all the time really one beyond the conception of oneness with that. And okay.
Not even that.
Not even that.
Where do you know that? Yeah,
What?
Don't go there. Where do you know that? Don't go there. Wherever you know that,
okay.
Beyond the concept of one, that is also a concept.
Yes.
So leave that.
Yes. Oh, it makes me so happy because it's so simple.
Yes. Very good. I'm glad it makes you happy. Sometimes some fear can also come, which is also natural. It's okay. It's all either way is good.
Yes.
Very good.
And my question is that now should I like be aware of second birth even, or should I just let go and do nothing? Because I don't know now if there is second birth or no second birth, it doesn't matter for the truth. And if there is a seeker, or if the seeker is like less in the view of the second birth, it doesn't matter to the truth as well. So should I even do second birth, or
everything which is in your intellect, just leave it. It's fine.
so even not the intellectual one of second birth practicing?
Nothing.
Okay.
Nothing.
Yes. Okay. Yes, because before my practice was, of course, like staying more or less in the second bird, and while truth is there, and now you say all this practice.
No, I'm
let
not.
go.
I'm not.
Okay.
I'm only saying that any thing which is in your mind or intellect, leave that. Then if practicing has to happen, practicing can happen. If practicing doesn't have to happen, it cannot happen. Either way is okay. I'm just saying that don't determine what you are and what you should do, what you should be, from any intellectual or conceptual idea of doing or time or any of these things.
Yes, yes, okay. Okay, yes. Yes, but now even if practicing second bird took place, I kind of would now start as truth practicing. And before I started as a person practicing second bird.
Don't make any.
Yes, yes. It's
Don't make any conclusions, my dear.
Yes.
You don't have to determine your position.
Okay.
In fact, you cannot. Just think about it, that's all.
Yes, okay.
What do you think?
What I think is your question?
No, not seriously. I'm just having some fun.
Okay.
Joking and saying, what do you think about not thinking?
I didn't understand because the internet connection.
Don't worry. It's fine. I was just making a joke about thinking about not thinking.
Yes.
Now you're thinking about it?
Yes, I thought about it, how I often think about not thinking. Yes.
Stop it.
Yes. Yeah, kind of the person has now more fear to lose it because I don't control the enlightenment.
Without the mind, do you know this? You know this without the mind? Do you know the state of the person? Mind?
If I know the person without mind?
Yes.
No. Without the mind, I cannot know person.
Then we cannot report on the state of a person if it is only from the mind, if it is just conceptual.
Yes, yes. Yes, now some fear comes from the person. Sometimes I have it when I talk with people, this insecurity and fear.
You're doing well. Don't worry about this. Allow it to come and go. It's fine.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Ananta-ji.
You want to put something? I see you're ready with yes, please, man.
Is it okay if I play a bhajan?
Please.
Achyutam Keshavam Krishna Damodaram Ramunarayanam Janaki Vallabham Achyutam Keshavam Krishna Damodaram Ramunarayanam Janaki Vallabham कौन कहता है भगवान आते नहीं तुम मीरा के जैसे बुलाते नहीं अच्युतम केशवम कृष्ण दामोदरम राम नारायणम जानकी वल्लभम कौन कहता है भगवान खाते नहीं बेसब्री के जैसे खिलाते नहीं अच्युतम केशवम कृष्ण दामोदरम राम नारायणम जानकी वल्लभम कौन कहता है भगवान सोते नहीं माँ यशोदा के जैसे सुलाते नहीं अच्युतम केशवम कृष्ण दामोदरम राम नारायणम जानकी वल्लभम कौन कहता है भगवान नाचते नहीं गोपियों की तरह तुम नचाते नहीं सारे सारे रे ग म म प प म ग प म प ध म ग म प म प ग ध रे सा अच्युतम केशवम कृष्ण दामोदरम राम नारायणम जानकी वल्लभम नाम जपते चलो काम करते चलो हर समय गुरु का ध्यान करते चलो गम प म प म प स म ग म ग ग रे ग रे ग म प अच्युतम केशवम कृष्ण दामोदरम राम नारायणम जानकी वल्लभम कौन कहता है भगवान आते नहीं तुम मीरा के जैसे बुलाते नहीं कौन कहता है गुरुदेव आते नहीं तुम मीरा के जैसे बुलाते नहीं Thank you.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much for being in Satsang today. Sadhguru Sri Muji Baba ki Jai.
Sadhguru Sri Ananta-Part.
Jai. Guru Kripa Keval.